what's up? Upside Max here with another TFT guide. Today I'm going to be giving you 5 tips that you can use to not only improve as a player, but also help you within your games. Some of these topics were given from you in the Discord server, so make sure you join the Discord server. Link is in the description and also the pinned comment for more info and also to improve even faster. So the 5 tips I'm going to be talking about today: how to VOD review your games. This one's pretty important to improve. What to do when you're contested, how to play uncontested, and how to find uncontested lines. Regarding experiment, there's a lot of different variations, so I'll be talking about which units you should be linking, when and why. When you should level on 2-1, when you should you stay level 3, and then also when to pivot a composition and when to contest a composition. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below, or you can ask them in the Discord server as well. Okay, so let's get into it. How to VOD review. So this was a topic from one of you in the Discord. So the way I VOD review is using the Outplayed app by Overwolf. You don't have to use this. You could use any recording software that you have. You could also stream on your Twitch and then check it out again on the video producer area on Twitch. It doesn't really matter how you record it. This is how you do it. And essentially this is what it looks like, right? You can review your game after, watch the entire thing, even give you little check marks. This is the Outplayed app, little like areas to see like when a round starts, when you won, when you lost, and it's pretty good. You get to pause it, review your mistakes, also review your good plays. This one is important as well. Reviewing your good plays, seeing why they were good and to repeat these good plays in the future and how to like stop repeating mistakes. And it's very good. Like you can get second opinions from your friends. You can use these during coaching sessions, and even just reviewing them by yourself is really important and seeing exactly how your game went. I highly recommend this if you're trying to improve. If you're just playing for fun and you don't really care too much, then that's totally okay as well. You do you. This is just a little tip to help you improve. Okay, so here is a pretty big one, so I'll pause this video for now. How to play uncontested. If you're always getting into a game and then somehow you're thinking like, oh my god, there are like no console play, I'm always contested, I can't hit my units. Here are a couple tips. So the first one is to scout around on 2-1, even before picking your augments. You'll have about a minute and you can scout around the opponents and kind of predict which lines they'll be playing. If you see any like Rageblade slams, then you know they're either playing Twitch most likely, like maybe Zeri, but like Twitch, Infinity Edge, or Archangel, they're probably playing Academy, like maybe even Scrap. And then any like melee slams, they're playing like Ambushers or Vi. So this will give you some pretty important information. Also, augments can give you a lot of information as well. If your opponents have taken a reroll augment, they have also a stage 2 tempo augment. So this means that they're going to be rather strong on the stage. Or if they've taken like a mid to late game augment, such as like pumping up, they'll be a bit weaker. This will also help you influence, this will influence you as well and kind of help you figure out whether or not you will have a good chance of winning stage 2 and should level, or if you should stay level 3, make 10. So I'll show, that's a couple of things that you need to be scouting around on 2-1-4. I'll play the clip here from the start. So you can see I have a couple options here. I already skipped the middle one because it was just not good. Maybe Cold Shot or something. Technically you could scout around for that as well. But I'm thinking like Kingslayer here if the lobby is like really strong, and then maybe I will get my gold later, or Risky Moves if the lobby is really weak and I can use this 5 streak and get gold later. But regardless, before I make a decision, right, I want to scout around here. So scout here. Kind of ambiguous, no augments yet, no obvious units, item slams a little bit ambiguous as well, like BT maybe, but that's about it. Right over here, okay, item grab bag, they got a full Thieves Gloves on this. This is basically Band of Thieves. They're going to be a bit strong on stage 2, playing up a Thieves Glove over everyone else. All right, let's keep going. Here, same thing, kind of took item augments. They'll have 2 full completed items versus my 1.5, so a little bit stronger. Caretaker's Ally, let's check it out what it is. Okay, Renata. They're going to be most likely playing around Renata or using it as econ. Trolling, pretty strong. Delayed Start, for sure. They will have like a fully upgraded board. And then I didn't see the last one. But the general consensus of the lobby is that it is pretty decently strong. There are a few players that have like item augments. And also my star is not that good. So not only will I eventually roll Risky Moves as well. Kingslayer, I think it's okay. It's just not that great. And I end up taking pumping up here, slamming a Shojin, and then that's half Nasher, and then I can go play Silco. I4NI is also okay, but this is kind of what you need to do on 2-1, trying to figure out which lines your opponents are playing, checking out if there's any slams, checking out which augments people are taking, and then trying to avoid going into those lines. Regarding like how many people are contesting you, or you are contesting them, if only 2 people are playing the same 4-cost line, then that's pretty reasonable. You can continue with that. But once it gets like 3 or more people, then it gets really suspicious. So really try to avoid 3 people. And also in regards of reroll, try to really avoid any reroll lines unless your spot is better. If your spot is insane, let's say like Unleash the Beast Urgot, and someone else is just playing just like regular Urgot, I don't know, then you most likely still hold the line, but try to avoid reroll lines as much as you can. So that's going around on 2-1. I'll also pause this here as well. How to play contested. So let's say you are contested, like you had a good spot going into it and you're contested. It happens, right? First off, you want to try to take at least 1 econ augment, since on average you will be requiring more rolls in order to hit your board, just because other players are also taking those same units out of the pool. Let's talk about the pool real quick. So right, pool size here, there are 31 costs, 25 2 costs, 18 3 costs, and then going into the 4 costs, right? So there's 10 4 costs, which means if only 2 people are playing it, most of the time there will only be 6 total out of the pool, so it's pretty reasonable to hit. But that's one-way contested. So if you're one-way contested, you don't have to worry too much. Sack 4-1, level and roll on 4-2, you're gonna be level 8, and hopefully you have like 50 plus gold to roll, and hopefully hit your board. If you're more than 2-way contested, or more than 2 ways contested, first off, try to pivot to another composition if you can. Now it gets really suspicious, right? If it's going to be like 9 out of 10 copies, it's going to be really hard to hit. If you are really contested, what you can do is, first off, you definitely need to take an econ augment because you want to be rolling earlier than them, or at least at the same time. So roll early for at least a 1-star copy of the board. This can be done on actual wolves or on 4-1. Sometimes your augment allows you to roll on 4-1 perfectly as well. For example, I have Cluttered Mind, and you see here I'm perfectly level 8 on 4-1. One thing to remember is, at least versus the players who are contesting you, most of the time, all the contestants will only have a 1-star copy of the board, since it's just incredibly difficult to hit a 2-star copy. So if multiple versions of the 1-star copy of the boards are all fighting each other, this means they're all around the equal board strength. So you don't have to like worry too much about only being stable at 2 stars, since some of the other players are most likely only going to be 1-star as well. So I'll roll the clip here. You see I just hit level 8. I'm rolling down here. For the Twitch Muno board, I even hit Muno 2, which is really huge. And you see here, as soon as I hit 1 Twitch, I stop rolling, right? Since it's really unlikely I'm going to be hitting Twitch 2 on this roll down. I finish making my board, finish the positioning, get my Cluttered Mind value, and then I start slamming items, my IE, Rage Blade, Sunfire Cape, etc. So this is what you want to do when you're contested. If I send it to true 0 here, I'm most likely going to hit the... I could roll a little bit more for like Nunu 2 or Urgot 2, especially I would do that if I didn't hit the Mundo, but because like the front line is already decent enough on 4-1, then I can stop, make this interval, and then reassess the next round. Okay, so now let's move on to the experiment linking and discussing which units you should be linking on which hex. So there are going to be 5 generic experiment units plus Warwick as a 6 cost, Zyra, Urgot, Nunu, the Mundo, and then also the Twitch. There is also going to be the experiment emblem bonus, which is essentially after 8 seconds or on death, you will summon a copy of all units that are on these hexes, as long as the experiment emblem is also linked with 40% of the max HP. So those are going to be the 5 units, the emblem, and then also Warwick is just going to be stunning adjacent units once you kill a unit, but that is rarely linked, and also you rarely get the units. First thing, let's talk about the experiment unit links. So only the experiment units that are on the lab hexes will be gaining this bonus HP and receiving the experiment bonuses between all 3 units, or all 2 units if you're only playing 3 experiments. Currently, there are a few experiment compositions, the Urgot reroll comp, the Twitch comp, where you're going to be playing 5 experiments, and then also if you have Cooking Pot 2-1, where you have a Pan and you're playing Nunu 6 Bruiser. So let's talk about the Urgot reroll composition first. This is essentially what the level 6 board is going to look like, and you're going to be linking the Urgots in the front line and the Zyra in the backline hex. This is really good because the Urgot one, not only does it activate at the start of combat and also after casting, you will also dash your target, gain 8% of your max health as a shield, and then also 20% attack speed for 5 seconds. So this is really good because not only do we gain bonus HP from actually just linking these experiment units and putting them on the lab hexes, which synergizes with the HP shield, you'll also be getting a larger shield because of Sterix, which is going to be Urgot's best item. Zyra will allow the Urgot to deal more damage from his AoE cast and deal a lot of bonus true damage over 2 seconds to the units he is attacking. For this composition, we're rarely going to be playing 5 experiment. Your next best 2 ins is going to be Ezreal plus Corki, and playing around 4 artillerists, 3 experiment is going to be one of your highest caps on level 8, since most of the time you will be spending a lot of gold on level 6 rolling for this 3-star 2 cost. So let's move on to the Twitch composition now. On level 8, stage 4, you're going to be playing around 5 experiments. You're always going to be linking your Twitch and one of the backline hexes. Preferably you have 2 backline hexes so you can swap between these 2 instead of just one, where you're kind of stuck being here and players can position accordingly. You're usually going to be linking the Urgot plus the Mundo, and the case scenario where you have an insane frontline, let's say like Elise 2, Mundo 2, but you only have a Twitch one and you're lacking a lot of damage, you can link the Zyra and the Urgot temporarily, take the Mundo off the hex. This way you will get more damage, you will be getting the bonus true damage, you will be getting the attack speed and max health shield, and you'll also be getting the damage every 5 attacks onto the nearest enemy. So you only do this if your frontline is extremely strong, but you are lacking a lot of damage in your backline. Now, what happens if we have an experiment +1? So first off, experiment emblem extremely strong right now. Definitely try to take this and then angle Twitch if you have the case scenario. Your first line of action is going to be dropping the Zyra. So already this makes your board extremely good. This is essentially a tactician's crown since Zyra doesn't do anything for your board, and you can play a better unit such as a Tristana and Bessa, Corki if you have bonus items, Jace or Gangplank, or Mordekaiser if you have items for him such as Quicksilver or Eon. Regarding linking, you're always going to be linking your Twitch in this case scenario. On stage 4, you're going to be doing the experiment emblem plus Mundo, and I'll explain why in a second. First off, put the experiment emblem onto the Vi, preferably over Elise, unless Elise is 2-starred and Vi is 1-star. The reason being is because on form swappers, the experiment emblem will end up copying the backline version of this unit. So instead of producing another frontline Elise after 8 seconds or when the Elise dies, you'll now be having a backline Elise in the enemy backline that does not do much damage. So that's why Vi is better. Also, you get more CC from the second Vi over a backline Elise. The reason why we do Mundo on stage 4 is because the Mundo bonus is going to be flat HP. So gain 200 max HP, and then on takedown gain 75 max HP for the rest of combat. I actually believe now it's actually 60. These might be outdated numbers from the display. So this is great on stage 4, where we just want kind of like flat stats. We just want to win stage 4. Sometimes we have 1-star units as well. However, once we start on stage 5, where hopefully we have like an Elise 2, hopefully we have a Jace in, maybe we have like Mordekaiser in as well, we are going to be having a much stronger front line. So we're now going to benefit more from the percent max HP shielding on these units, especially like once this like Vi experiment emblem is 2-starred, rather than just flat HP. So this is going to be a lot better. Also with this case scenario, now our Twitch will be getting the also attack speed now that Urgot is going to be linked. So you want to be doing this either on stage 5+ or when your frontline is upgraded enough or you're level 9, where now you can kind of greed the attack speed and benefit more from the max HP shield rather than just giving everyone just flat HP. This is what your board is going to look like. As you see here, we don't have the Zyra in, and then one of your on level 8, you can play one of these. And then on level 9, you'll be most likely playing the Jace and the Mordekaiser as your highest cap. So let's move on to the Mutation Survives. This is going to be a really strong gold augment in right now's meta. So first off, experience will gain 12% HP, and you'll also be granted a special hex in the 3rd row in the middle. But this is essentially going to be the sacrificial hex, and this hex will die at the start of combat and grant that experiment bonus to all other laboratory hexes. So the way we're going to play this, we're going to be playing 5 experiments still. We will be sacrificing a Zyra 1. Zyra 1, Zyra 2, there's no difference, so you might as well save the extra gold. And you'll be linking the Twitch in the back line, and then the Mundo in the front line, and then Urgot wherever the third hex is. This is going to be very strong because now your Twitch will be benefiting from the Zyra bonus true damage, and it will essentially just increase the power of your board and is extremely good. Also gives you 3 experiment champions, which is always going to be the Zyra, the Urgot, and also the Nunu. So this will also strengthen your mid-game board, allow you to play just essentially a lot stronger of a mid-game board, because now you can play around 3 experiments, but use all 3 of these unit experiment bonuses because of the actual sacrificial hex, and it's just overall very good. You can take this on both 3-2 and 4-2 and lean into the Twitch composition. Moving on to Cooking Pot Nunu now, so really strong augment on 2-1. It will essentially grant you a frying pan, and at the start of each turn, all units that hold either a frying pan or a spats will grant the nearest champion 50 permanent HP. So the way you want to do this is you want to have at different stages of the game a priority unit that you want to be feeding this HP to. So first off, on stage 2, if you don't have a Nunu, which is going to be most of the time, unless you get dropped this on stage 1 orbs, you want to be feeding the Steb. Now, Steb is going to be better than the Trundle because on your late game board, you will be playing the Steb, but you will not be playing the Trundle. So you might as well feed the Steb over the Trundle, even if Steb is 1-star and you have a 2-star Trundle. Now, if you get an early Mundo, let's say Mundo on stage 3, you want to start feeding that Mundo. Until then, you want to be feeding a Nunu. So first off, you want to be feeding your Steb on stage 2. Once you hit a Nunu, you want to move over to feeding the Nunu. If you hit an early Mundo, let's say on stage 3, you start feeding the Mundo. And then starting on stage 4, once the Bruiser emblem is actually on the Mundo, you want to be starting to feed your Elise just like this. So everyone will get HP. At the very start of the game, Steb is going to be the best, right? Then Nunu, because that is going to be the second unit that you'll most likely be getting. And then once you get the experiment emblem onto the actual Mundo, you will start feeding the Elise because now you have an Elise. So that is how the order works. You also be feeding Rennie if you have Rennie as well, but you don't have Nunu. This is going to be the generic one. Just feed the best unit that you have at the time is essentially the order of feed. In regards of linking, you're going to be linking your Mundo 2 and your Twitch. Let's say you really have been feeding this Nunu since stage 2-1 or even like just mid stage 2, and it is a super Nunu by the time stage 4 comes around and you have your items on him, then you definitely want to be linking the Nunu and the Twitch at least until you hit the Mundo 2. Let's say you have a random Nunu 3, the Nunus just pop in. Well, you definitely want to be linking the Nunu and the Twitch. Keep feeding the Twitch and also evolve the Twitch and hopefully look for Slow Cooker. One last thing, Coronation, the Prismatic is going to be best in this composition as you can now double feed each round because they will be holding extra Frying Pan and Spatula combined and then granting even more permanent HP. So that is how you want to be playing the Cooking Pot Nunu. Extremely strong, guarantees you 6 Bruiser and insane frontline, and Twitch items is going to be Rageblade, Infinity Edge +1, preferably a red buff. Okay, so when should you level on 2-1? Basically, you want to level to 4 if you think you could win most or all of stage 2. And this is going to be dependent on a few factors here. So you want to look to see if you have any upgraded units, if you have good traits in like 2 Bruiser, most of the time it'll be 2 frontline, 2 backline units like 2 Bruiser, 2 Sork, or 2 Bruiser, 2 Sniper, etc. If you have summable items, do you have a Rageblade, do you have a Sunfire Cape, etc. Do you have a tempo augment? So here I've listed out some good tempo augments. Don't worry too much about the row classification. This is just, it doesn't matter. So the S and A rolls, they are going to be the tempo augments. So if you take this, this will help you win stage 2. And then also if it's a work encounter where you will get gold from kills, you definitely want to be leveling to 4 and killing some units. C and D tiers does not actually mean they're C and D, it's just the rows. These are going to be the non-tempo augments, so such as like Exalted Venture, Buried Treasures. This means that your stage 2 is going to be a little bit weaker. I would prefer to stay level 3 and just make the 10 gold and then start winning out stage 3. You also want to stay level 3 and make 10 gold if you're sitting on multiple 1-cost pairs. if it's possible to make 20 gold on this case, sometimes this is the case in like an Econ Galaxy, Econ Start, or just from like, I don't know, a 2-1 augments. Or if you also have no slammable item and you have taken one of these augments in these sort of rows. So that's what you want to consider when you level. If your start is really bad and you have like one of these augments and you level to 4, you're essentially killing your econ. It's going to be a lot harder to have a decent mid game, or at least optimize your mid game once you are supposed to have this spike. So definitely stay level 3 if you have one of these and your start is not good with no slammable item. Okay, so let's finish off here. When to pivot and when to contest. Essentially, you want to be playing the line that you have the best spot for. So this is going to be dependent on your augments, your units, your items, and also how many people are playing the same line. So let's first talk about level 8 compositions, where you're going to be stabilizing around 4 costs. First thing you want to check out is see how many people are looking to play this. So if you're more than one way contested, definitely try to pivot unless you natural the units, let's say on stage 3. So let's say there are 3 players including yourself playing Twitch. This is going to be one too many, but if you hit a Twitch on stage 3, that means on stage 4 you definitely have to roll up a lot less, and it is much easier for you to stabilize, and this is going to be fine to hold the line and stay. Let's say for reroll compositions, now you can contest reroll comps if you have an econ augment. Let's say Starry Nights, Prismatic Tickets. I personally don't think there are that many forcible or contestable worthy reroll compositions right now, as a lot of the reroll comps have a condition to them, such as like Unleash the Beast or like an artifact. But this is what you can do if you want to contest. As long as you have an econ augment, you're going to be fine. The second one is going to be playing a different version of the same line. So let's say there are 2 players playing Ambusher, and one is like re-rolling Camille because they have a Camille artifact such as like Special Cutlass. You can either go for like the Smeech 3 level 7 and play Ken Baron early. You could also go for the level 8 and play around 2 Echoes. There are going to be multiple versions that you could do within the same line if you're contested. Last but not least, if you have no scout, no pivots, you don't even have to worry about this, but it might be hard to hit. Okay, and that's everything. So I'm going to sum up everything that we talked about, all 5 tips, and then we'll do kind of a Q&A. Not really. This will just do, what am I even saying today? I haven't made a video in so long. All right, and that is everything for today. So I'll do a quick sum up of every tip that we talked about, and then we'll end things off. So today we talked about how to VOD review, why VOD reviewing is important. Definitely recommend implementing this into your schedule or your routine if you're really looking to improve as a player. How to play uncontested, how to find the uncontested lines on 2-1, and what to do if you are contested. We talked about all of the different experiments, variations regarding which units you should be linking. When should you be leveling on 2-1? When should you be staying level 3 on 2-1? And then also when to pivot or when to contest a composition. So that has been everything. I'm Max. If you enjoyed this or if you learned something, make sure you follow me on Twitch where I stream, and then also join the Discord server just for more information and to find out when I post. Have a great night, best of luck in your games, and if you have any suggestions for further videos, make sure you let me know either in the comments, just from DMs, just find a way to get to me. Thank you and have a great night. See you.